Okay, thank you. The purpose of the public hearing is for the planning board to hear the comments of the general public and specifically the neighbors to the project site about the project to help inform our decision on the project, which we hope to make later in the following planning board meeting. Is there anyone here from the general public? I understand that there's one person logged on that would like to make a comment on the project or ask questions of the developer. And I would ask you, if you are going to ask a question or make a comment, please identify yourself by name and give us your address, please. Anybody from the public to make comments? I would note that this is your opportunity to make a comment on the project. And once the public hearing is closed, your opportunity will be gone. So if you have a question or if you want to make a comment on the project, we'd like to hear it. You know, one of the things that came up at our last planning board meeting on the project was we were questioning whether or not there might be any light bleed from the back of the new part of the building to be constructed onto the neighbors, and we wanted to hear from the neighboring residents. So if there's any comments on that or anything else on the project, we'd certainly like to hear them. Okay, I'll ask a third and final time if there are any public comments on the project. And if I hear none, then I'm going to ask for a motion to close the public hearing. So I would hope that if you're logged on or if you're there in person and you logged on or came in person to make a comment or ask a question, you would take this opportunity to do so. We really encourage that. Okay, one last time. Any comments or questions? I'm not hearing any, so I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close.
Second.
Second, please. Okay. Mary and Craig, any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Public hearing is closed. We'll move directly into our planning board meeting. I'm assuming no new board members have entered, so please show the same board members present as were in the public hearing. First order of business is reading approval of the February 28th, 2022 minutes. I had one question or possible revision on page 2 of the minutes in the 6th paragraph, where there was discussion about the stormwater drainage on the east side of the building. You know, I was concerned about stormwater coming off that east side, whereas previously it would go off the north side. And I believe that Mr. Vina said that he would tie that, he would collect that stormwater and tie it into stormwater drainage at the northeast corner, which is the first sentence of that paragraph. The second sentence relates to tying the northwest corner into that northeast storm drain. So I guess, you know, my concern is that, you know, that the not only that be I actually don't remember making that comment on the in the second sentence, but if that's the case, then I'm fine with that as being a condition. But the first sentence I would also like to see that be a condition of the project as well. The stormwater off of the east side of the building be tied into the northeast storm drain. So I'd like to see that revision made in the minutes. Any other revisions or discussion of the minutes? Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes with that revision.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as revised.
Second, please.
Second.
Okay. Made and seconded, Craig and Mark. Any discussion?
So Tom, just to clarify, the two conditions you want from this paragraph are the northeast drainage will be tied into the current, or the drainage from the east side of the addition will be tied into the northeast drainage, and the northwest will be tied into the northeast drainage as well.
That would be my understanding, right?
Okay.
Unless the northwest drainage goes directly into the city system. In that case,
I only remembered talking about the northeast,
yeah,
but
well, maybe we didn't. Maybe that second sentence didn't actually happen. If there is a northwest corner drainage, a storm drain, and that is tied directly into the city system, then we wouldn't need that second condition.
Hey, Tom, so what if we just worded it that the storm drains would be tied into the appropriate drains per their location? And, checked to the satisfaction of code enforcement.
That would work for me.
Okay. Just because I don't want to miss one, but I don't want to put some condition where it's impossible.
Right. My if you recall, my concern was during the meeting 2 weeks ago was related to the stormwater off the east side.
Yeah, my
Okay.
notes from last week, I say tie northeast corner into northeast storm drain.
Yeah, because it seems like if you recall, I mean, already that area is paved back there, so it's already sheeting off that back pavement onto the north side of the north boundary of the property into those northeast and northwest storm drains. So really, my concern is only with the stuff that comes off the east side between the existing building and the new addition, which is, directed eastward because of the pitch of the new roof. So that was my concern. Okay, have we called the question yet? I called the question. I forget whether or not we've actually taken a vote on it.
No.
No, we hadn't.
We
didn't
didn't.
make a motion. But Tom, I have an update before we call any motion to order. I had received an email, then a phone call from Alderman Robinson about a complaint from the neighbors on how the snow is taken care of in the parking lot. And concern was expressed that it's piled up on the corner of West 8th and 14th Street. However, code enforcement's talked to Vic, and given the project, obviously a good portion of the snow will be remaining on the roof and then tied correctly into the storm drains. And he has in the past gotten snow removed from the location when it's appeared too high for sight distance. So he's aware of the situation, he handles it in the correct manner, and has agreed that he'll continue to do so.
That doesn't go to our minutes though, does it?
No.
Right.
No, this was just an issue that was called to my attention that asked to be put into the record today.
Okay,
And-
let's deal with that when we actually move on to talking about this project.
Oh,
Yeah, I think to go back to the motion about the minutes, Tom.
oh, I thought we were done with that. Sorry, never mind.
That's what I said. He said.
Oh, I thought you were saying a motion on the project. Never mind. Okay.
No. We didn't vote on the minutes, right?
Right.
Oh,
Right.
Right. And I thought we were trying to jump to a motion on the project. Sorry.
No, sorry. Probably my inexact language in discussing the motion that I was referring to. So let's act on the question. All those in favor of approving the minutes as revised, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Those are carried. Okay, now let's move right into the project discussion, and Carrie's comments are about snow load are important, and they should be in the minutes here at this point. Carrie, do you feel that there's a need for some kind of a condition on the project as a consequence of the snow load issue?
I don't think it really needs to go that far. I think it's in the minutes. Vic does a great job. He'll continue to do so. I don't know that it needs to be memorialized to that extent. I think that's up to the board.
Well, I'm sure Vic does a great job, but if there's a nearby resident's complaint about how he handles things, then it's obviously there potentially could be an issue here. But I'm wondering whether or not that could be addressed through an enforcement action through code enforcement to move the snow, as opposed to an action on our part, putting a condition on the project.
I agree.
Okay, so let's maybe Kathy, you could have the minutes reflect that.
Sure.
Okay. I'll just tick down through the issues we discussed at the last minute, at the last meeting, and see if we have updates on certain, and see what the board's temperature is for the rest of them. The first was exterior lighting. Was there any comments back on the exterior lighting from the neighbor? on the
Actually,
North side?
can I read you guys a statement that I have prepared?
Who's speaking now?
The
This is,
applicant.
Who?
The applicant.
Okay,
yep. So can I read a statement that I prepared on behalf of Mr. Douglas and myself?
on behalf of who?
Mr. Douglas, the neighbor, Jim.
Okay, please go ahead.
So I just wrote this up. I asked Mr. Douglas if he wanted to come to the meeting. I mentioned you guys wanted his comments. And he said, why don't you just type something up and I'll sign it. And then you'll have a statement for the meeting. I said, okay, that's fine. I can do that. So I wrote up a notice of communication and agreement to the planning board. I, Vic Vina of Allen's Wine and Liquor, and Mr. Jim Douglas of South 14th Street have agreed on the lighting concerns. We will be working together to make sure the back lot of Allen's and the north side of the Douglas property is lit enough to be safe, not creating a dark alley. We will use a motion light, LED adjustable temperature, recessed lighting, and timers to make sure the lot is well lit. The lot will not be abrasive to the neighbors, and we will be safe for customers and employees of Allen's and guests of the Douglases. Thank you. And it is signed by myself and Mr. Douglas.
Okay, perhaps you could forward that to Carrie for her project file.
Yep, I certainly can. And you can see where he signed it, but I can definitely forward that up.
The other two questions on that, when you say recessed lighting, you mean downward shielded lighting?
Yeah, downward facing up in the soffit.
Up in the soffit, okay.
Yep.
And secondly, when you said on a timer, what's your anticipated hours that they'll be lit?
The latest, well, what I would do, I've been thinking about this lately, is probably put a light on each corner of the building back there and a light on each door that would stay on all, dusk till dawn. And then back where Mr. Douglas has a gate, kind of across the back of the building, I would put a motion light back there. So if anybody was creating a problem, the motion light would come on, or messing around behind the building. Then as far as lighting that goes to light the entire building, I would have that come off at night when we close, and that would be 9 PM on most nights, 10 PM on Friday.
Now, would that last light that you're discussing be showing on the new addition or just on the front part of the building?
The new addition would have some like additional lights that would be open during business hours, yes. Or that would be on during business hours
Where would they be located?
in the soffit. They'd be down lighting.
Okay. But no exterior, say, pole mounted lighting.
Nah, probably won't be necessary.
Well, keep in mind that if we don't approve them now, you'd have to come back to us for that kind of lighting if you wanted to install
Parking lot light, so to speak.
it. Yeah, anything that we don't approve, in other words, anything that's not downward mounted soffit lighting. If you want to put something on a pole, you should suggest it now as opposed to suggesting it later after we made the approval, because you'll have to come back to us for a lighting change.
No, I'm thinking we're in pretty good shape.
Okay, Kathy, you got all that in terms of the description of the lighting? Okay. Next item was green space and the planters. To refresh the board's memory, the project site doesn't meet the 10% green space minimum, and the applicant suggested that he be allowed to put planters on the front sidewalk as an alternative. How does the board feel about that?
I'm okay with the planters. I had mentioned they did a nice job with them and they weren't obtrusive at the wellness store. So if they're similar to that, I'm good with that.
Anyone else?
Yes, how much of the sidewalk would they end up taking up, Vic?
0.
Oh, they would not be down on the sidewalk, they'd be just above it? Is that the idea, or?
In front of it, I think. If
Oh,
we go that route, they would be in front of the sidewalk, yes.
okay, so between the parking space and the sidewalk, is that what they would end up doing?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so there'd be plenty of room to go by for pedestrians or for somebody in a wheelchair, for instance.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yep.
Okay,
All right.
I'm fine with that.
Kathy, you got that as well? Okay. The next thing was the location of the handicap parking spaces. And you recall that I'd suggested that they be located right in front of the door as opposed to down at the end. And I think, Vic, your comment back was that there'd be more loading space down at the end. Well, I mean, the space is the same regardless of the location. It makes sense to me to locate handicap parking spots as close to a door as is possible. Is that something you'd be amenable to?
I'm personally kind of indifferent. I think either way would work. I don't think it matters either way, to be honest.
Well, it'd be my preference to locate them in the middle, right in front of the door. How's the rest of the board feel about that?
Yeah, I think I mentioned this last time. If you want to do that way, and I think it's a good way to go. I would suggest the access aisle be directly in front of the door itself. That way, if people step out of their vehicle, well, especially if the planters are going to be between the sidewalk and the cars pulling up, then your patrons will probably end up walking, depending on where they are, they may end up walking around the back of the vehicles, and then they come around the back of all the vehicles and then right up that access aisle right into the front door. That's what I could see happening.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's make that location of the handicap parking a condition of the project. The next thing, Carrie, you were gonna.
Tom,
Okay.
before you go on, what are the regulations for handicap parking? Does it specify that it has to be that close or within a certain number of feet of the front door? Or
I
I'm
did,
just familiar.
Where it's located on the site plan is sufficient. It meets the ADA requirements. And the architect actually allowed for more of an unloading and loading zone at the proposed location. That's why it was originally planned there. They were actually allowing more room for that. So if it goes to where Tom's proposing, the loading zone is going to shrink and it'll just meet the ADA requirement. So one thing I did talk to Code about with the difference why it was chosen at either location.
It's also flatter on the end.
it's wider at the proposed location because it's on the corner.
Yeah, they were able to allow how the parking is striped on the site plan. They allowed for an even greater loading and unloading zone on the corner.
I guess it doesn't make sense to me. If you've got that wider space on the corner, just move the whole thing with a wider space down into the middle.
Tom, it's also flatter, if you've been down there, it's also flatter on the end where it's proposed in the plan is the incline starts closer on his front line than it does on the side.
I
Is it-
just hate to make more regulations than what is required and sounds feasible or a good idea to have it as a wider area. I'm okay with where it is.
Yeah, I'm okay following the city code and the architect's recommendation.
Is the incline significant in front of the building?
It's just greater than what it is on that side where it's proposed in the drawings.
Well, Craig, you were the other person that spoke up about preference for the location. What are you thinking now? Is your thinking changed?
Not necessarily. I'm just saying if we were going to locate it in the center, then I mean, I typically had ended up parking on the end of the building, usually because that was what was open when I got there, and not in the front. But so I can't even speak to the incline that's there because I don't think I've gone in the front that way. But I know it worked for me from that direction, going right up the sidewalk from there.
Okay, well, why don't
So
we stay with the location as proposed then? I'm hearing several other board members
Mhm.
happy with that. So if that works for you, Craig, then it would work for me. So,
Yeah, I mean, for what I've done, as long as that sidewalk, the concrete sidewalk that's there, as Vic said, would still remain clear, then that's enough room to get by and get up to the door.
yeah. Okay. So let's make that, let's leave that as was proposed. And the last item that I have that we discussed was conditioning the return to sidewalks within a year of project completion. So I would suggest that that be made a condition. Any other discussion on the project? Any other
Matt?
questions?
Yeah, can I kind of give some information that I've dug into a little bit back before you make that a condition?
Sure.
I'm gonna just, I just want to make it. So my concern with putting sidewalks down through that parking lot is the durability issue. When you have blacktop, then go to cement sidewalk blocks, then go back to blacktop for the, out by the street, the subway. How am I gonna plow that in an even plane without leaving snow behind, which it's just not gonna plow as smooth as blacktop would. And then the cost aspect, and I got a quote from Steve Wilbur. The quote is $7,000 greater to do sidewalks instead of all just blacktop. And that is about 25% more than just straight blacktop. So if straight blacktop with stripes through it doesn't rub anybody the wrong way, and unless it's really, stated in code that it has to go back to sidewalk blocks, I'd like to have the freedom to make that decision later, not be locked in by a condition.
Well, the minutes say that Bob Ring's comments were to convert it to concrete sidewalk to comply with code requirements. So I'm assuming that there is a code requirement to that effect. But we're going through a changeover in DPW directors, so perhaps as a compromise, we could condition this on converting the sidewalks within a year, but then allow you to have discussions with the new DPW director and then come back to us if DPW is okay with staying with blacktop. And if if you just make a quick appearance with us and we have a communication from DPW that they're okay with blacktop, then we could remove that condition. So,
That's fine. I'm fine with that.
it's just that apparently there is some kind of a code requirement to that effect, so.
Yeah, there is. You're not allowed to have blacktop as your sidewalk.
So, Vic, it looks like you might end up having to do that anyway, so.
But I
But
mean,
let's
we
go
can
with
give
that.
that leeway with the new director if you'd like.
Right. Let's go that route.
Okay.
Okay. Any other discussion on the project? Okay,
I think there's one thing, Vic, correct me if I'm wrong, the dumpster location that's on the site plan is incorrect and it needs to be along it needs to be along the other side, right?
So I don't have the site plan in front of me. I have a bunch of other drawings and these don't have the dumpster on them, but the dumpster is going to be basically right where it is. It's just going to face the other way. It's going to be over on the Bausch's side of the building, way in the back.
Yeah, on the site plan, Vic, it's shown on the that southwest corner. So the other end of the addition is where it's shown right now. So what you're saying is it'll be on the opposite side,
Yep,
on the east side.
correct.
Houses. Okay.
Yep.
okay. I mean, I'd asked whether or not code and fire would have any issues with snake and a hose back there around that, so.
No, I actually checked on that, Tom. That was one of my things. Brian and I talked about the dumpster location. Those, you had me do 2 follow-up items. That was one of the 2. So
Yeah,
that's how I discovered the dumpster wasn't in the correct location on the site plan.
right,
So in the northeast corner, it is sufficient for fire. And the other thing you would ask me to do is there's that 10-foot from there to the property line. And that is sufficient for them to be able to get the truck in and to fight a fire if that ever occurs.
right, okay. Thank you for checking on those things.
Sure.
Anything else in the project before we move for a motion on this? Okay, I'm not hearing anything, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the project with the conditions we've discussed tonight.
Motion,
Second, please.
Second,
Made and seconded, Mary and Craig. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Vic, we thank you for your patience in the process, and we thank you for continuing to invest in the city. We appreciate that. Thanks very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Okay. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting. Okay. Okay, we're done with that, and I guess if you contact Carrie and Codes, they'll give you your paperwork to start, okay?
Sounds great. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Thank you, Vic.
thanks, Vic.
thank you.
Okay, we move on to new business. Our new project for tonight, State Street Olean LLC, site plan number 2-22 at 2727 West State Street. Is there someone here from the applicant?
AC, did you want to speak?
Connecting right now.
Casey Birch, is that? Casey, you might have to log on again. You're not coming, you're not connecting.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes,
All right, sorry about that. For some reason, the first time it didn't let me put a participation ID in. Now it did. So yeah, and I apologize too. I wasn't expecting to present tonight. I knew I had to be on just in case you guys had any questions, but I do have our plan up, and I can go give you guys a broad overview. For the record, my name is Casey Birch. I'm a civil engineer. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, State Street Ocean LLC. And I can definitely give you guys a broad overview. I'll share my screen now if that's okay.
Sure, thank you.
before
Let
we
me know when you
start,
see it.
yeah, before we start, Casey, I would say that you know, what I've had to look at so far are 8.5 by 11 reproductions of your plan set, and also digital copies of that. And even when you blow the, you know, the 8.5 by 11s are too small to see anything. And I was looking with, I was looking with a magnifying glass, and it's, you know, it's just too small to see anything, you know, and
No, I understand that.
and even with the digital copies, if you expand the perspective, then all the writing is illegible, becomes illegible at that resolution, and you can't really see anything like light poles or green space or dimensionality or storm drains or any of the things that we typically are concerned with here. So I think that
Right. So
I think that I'm going to need
so I
a
sent
full plan set. You know?
yeah. So I sent a large copy to Ryan Reed, and he was going to get a consensus on who would like an actual hard copy, so we could send you guys more hard copies of 24 by 36s. So I could, for this meeting, I could definitely get a head count of how many members would like us to send the 24 by 36, so we can definitely send that your way.
I definitely would like one.
Okay.
Anybody else?
I would too, Mary.
7 copies for each member.
So just
Oh,
get 7
no.
copies? Perfect.
I'll just-
Oh, you have a copy in the development office, right? Carrie?
No, we have one in code enforcement, one large printed that we've been sharing.
Yeah, why don't we make it 8 then, and then there'll be one for Carrie as well. Okay,
Perfect. I can definitely get that over. Now, just to go through the process here, is this like a meeting where you guys are kind of accepting it in, because it's not a public hearing yet, right? Because we have to,
right,
that
right.
will
We
be for
would-
the next time?
Yeah, that's the way we typically run it, is we have an introductory meeting, and assuming it's straightforward, we can sometimes schedule a public hearing 2 weeks from tonight. And
Okay,
and then even act on the, like we did on the last project, even act on the project on the same day that we have the public hearing. But, you know, not all I mean, this is a little bit more complex project than the last one we discussed. And I'm not certain, I mean,
Right.
you're fronting on Route 417. So, Carrie, is there a statutory referral to the county for that?
No, we signed that agreement with the county, so code enforcement and I now have the leeway that if we feel that it's sufficient, we don't have to do the referral to the county planning board.
That's
And-
even when there's adjacency to a state highway?
Yes, that too. Yep. And so we feel that the city of Olean Planning Board is totally able to do all of this within their purview and that we don't need to forward it on to the county.
Okay, so Casey, that won't cost you some additional time.
okay.
Tom, I
But
would note that that's not necessary. I mean, I understand what Carrie's saying and everything, but it doesn't preclude us from asking them for an opinion
Right.
if we feel we want it.
right. Okay, and how do you feel about that, Craig? Do you want their opinion?
It would be interesting to know what they think on it. Traffic issues and things like that.
I have the entire traffic study here. It was in that link that was sent.
Right,
Yeah, I would like to see if we get further in the project, if we, if we think that we don't have the, the documentation or something to answer our questions, and they would be able to advise before. Because we know sometimes, depending on what it is, I guess, we haven't got that far in the project yet. I mean, I
Well,
looked over it, but like you're saying, Tom, it's really hard to even read these little things here,
the only
everything
thing
that's going on, it's really hard to tell.
I would agree, Mark. The only thing I would say is that it would be nice if we can make the decision whether or not to seek county planning board input tonight, because this would be the time to get on their meeting agenda for the end of the month.
Yes.
If we don't do it until 2 weeks from tonight, that'll cost the applicant a month to get on the meeting agenda
okay,
at the end,
okay.
at the end of April. You see what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah, I understand.
So perhaps, we'll discuss the project, and at the end, we'll return to this issue whether or not we want a referral to the county planning board.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's basically what I was saying. Let's talk about it and get into it
Right.
first, to see where we're at.
And let me ask you, Casey, what we're talking about is a development, and the ingress and egress into the development are on 27th and 28th Streets, correct?
Yeah, so the main access is off of State Street in this location at the existing curb cut. You can also access it from the Aldi's parking main entrance and the I believe this is a Kmart back here, or used to be, into this area as well. It is integral into the existing lot.
You're confusing me a little bit more than I thought I was.
This is where the steak place used to be,
It's where
or
Ponderosa was,
Ponderosa.
Ponderosa, yeah.
on the
Right.
corner
Yeah.
of State and Independence.
You see, when I looked at what I could see from the site plan sheet is that I do not see, what I was just hearing you say is that there's ingress and egress onto State Street. And I don't see that in the plan set. I see ingress and egress onto 27th and 28th Street.
Tom. It's JR. If you're looking at the one that's like on page,
Yes, that one right there.
the fourth page.
He
Okay,
has on the
yep.
screen.
Sorry.
That one, the ingress egress on the right-hand side goes on to State Route 417. That is also currently there. It serves as the truck entrance and service loading dock entrance to the Marshall's Kmart. On the
That's-
left-hand side,
That's what we call 27th Street.
no, 27th Street is on the left-hand side, was the old 27th Street.
No, that was 28.
That's 28th Street.
Okay, so the 28th Street is also, it's a curb cut in between islands that are already there.
Right, so what I was asking is that this is ingress and egress onto 27th and 28th Street. So the answer to my question is yes.
Okay, so this is 27, this is considered 27th Street here?
Yes.
Okay, then yes.
Okay,
You also had said that there will be ingress and egress to the site from the Aldi's parking lot.
Well, the Aldi's main entrance, I think there's a traffic signal here, if I'm correct, and
Where?
maybe not.
Last
It's
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Independence Drive intersection? Yeah,
Independence
right.
and State, yeah.
Yeah, but that's not the Aldi's parking lot. That's.
I thought this was Aldi's, my apologies. This building
is
right here?
That
That
is
is
Aldi's,
Aldi.
Oh, okay,
but that's not the Aldi's.
so this
parking
is the
lot.
parking, this is Aldi's parking here,
Right, and there's no entrance and egress.
right here.
From that parking lot.
Yeah, you
Because-
come in here and then you take a right through here.
It uses the main plaza entrance is what it uses.
In other words.
Right.
28th Street.
Yes, I'm going to clearly label that 27th and 28th. I apologize. I wasn't familiar with that. But I can definitely change our plans to
So,
say that.
so there is not an egress, entrance egress in from the Aldi's parking lot, as you had initially indicated.
There is. It's right by where he's scrolling with the
Right
mouse.
here.
Yeah, Tom,
There is a dedicated
I don't
spot.
see the scroll.
it's a contiguous parking lot from Staples to Aldi's to the former Ponderosa where this development is happening. They're all connected. There's not a,
I know, but it's not going to be connected once they build this. You're going to have buildings there. So there's not going to be.
So there's a connection at this point here that goes into this right here is the Aldi's parking area all up here. So there will be a connection here.
No. The Aldi's parking lot is to the south of that, of those two buildings.
And this area too, I think it's Aldi's property as well.
Yes, it is.
So you're actually gonna, so it's not from 28th Street, the parcel line doesn't go all the way to 28th Street.
That's correct. Yeah, we only have the parcel line with the curb cut in front on 27th Street.
Okay, so you're gonna be going through all these parking lot to 28th Street.
Or
Yeah.
we'll come off into 27th Street, correct?
Right. Do you have any kind of a legal agreement with all these to use their parking lot for a drive aisle?
We do, yes. We're actually updating it as well. There is an existing one there now. And then we're in coordination with them, and we have an updated one that will be revised. So the existing one right now goes through here, and then there's a 15-foot slither that goes all the way to the end. We're cutting it back to just provide this site drive right here inside it. So yes, we do have that declaration, and if that's something that the town wants to see, we can definitely provide that. Or city, sorry, city wants to see.
Yeah, I guess I'm not following what you just said about that drive aisle arrangement, but yeah, it would be nice to have a copy of that in our file.
Okay,
Um,
definitely.
I mean, you know, I get the egress from the west end of the development, but I don't understand what that secondary drive-through lane is. You know, I didn't understand that looking at the plan set anyway. But I'm not certain how that impacts the arrangement with all these, and I don't understand that. You said it was a sliver that runs all the way through, but now it's only gonna be this drive aisle. I'm not certain how that, you know, what.
Yeah, so I can definitely, I can definitely provide you with the existing, actually it might be here. Yeah, so see this purple line right here? And this purple line down here? So we have, it's an access easement that runs through here and then bifurcates this bottom property line. So it's about 25 feet wide now. And it's these two purple lines. That's the existing access easement. And it provides rights for the old Ponderosa site to utilize the site, or to utilize a portion of, I believe, the Aldi's property here. And then it provides Aldi's with the right to cross the old Ponderosa site, or our current property, to use it to get into the back of the building. Aldi's and Kmart and all the other people, all the other tenants in that shopping center to use to get through here, to get into the back of the building.
Right, because your property line actually goes across 27th Street.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it makes sense that you revise that, because now you won't be using that 25-foot boundary drive aisle any longer as a primary ingress egress into the site. You'll be using ingress egress through their parking lot to the west end of the site as opposed to the south end of the site.
Right, and there's a blanketed declaration for the use of, to go through on 28th Street side to enter this way as
Right.
well,
Okay.
which is already currently there. I believe it's just being modified for the
Yeah,
new use.
we'd like a copy of that for our file.
Sure, I can definitely get that.
And are you proposing two buildings or one building?
Yeah, I'll let me go through the site plan now so I can like give you guys an overview. We are proposing two buildings. One is a 3,500 square foot medical clinic, and the other one will be a fast casual restaurant with the drive up window It's not a drive-through. This specific user will be utilizing online order system. So you come up when your time is ready, which they typically have a queue of about 3 at the most. We're providing obviously a lot more than that, but it is not a drive up. There is no order board, and you can't just come in and order from the order board and pick up. You have to actually have an online service to pick up at this window. So that's kind of the situation with this building here.
So
And then the parking is in front.
the city zoning ordinance does have language in there for these sort of drive-through things, and it mentions dimensionality and so forth. Is your intention to comply with that language or what?
It is, yes. We comply with the drive up, the window drive up, and we've actually had the zoning code enforcement officer review our plans preliminarily, and they have, correct me if I'm wrong, Kerry, they have signed off on the preliminary view of this.
They have. They were satisfied that the pickup window lane, with it being the mobile only and how the zoning's written, that 160 feet is sufficient.
Yeah, we couldn't even see the dimensionality because it's too small, so describe to us the length of the drive aisle and the width of the drive aisle for that.
So these are about 20 feet. So the length of the drive aisle, so it's about 150 feet, and it's a 12-foot wide drive aisle, and there's also a 12-foot wide bypass lane. That way, if people realize that, oh, this isn't a typical drive-through window, then they go past a parked car and they can exit out that way. So we got 2 12-foot lanes, but one is utilized for the drive-up window. It's about 150 feet long.
Are you gonna stripe those? Or is there gonna
Yeah, there's a 4-inch white stripe, and then you have the stop bar and do not enter signs located in this area. So yeah, the lanes are clearly striped in this.
You're not gonna have any curbing between them.
No, curbing will be on the inside and the outside of the lanes.
The outside of
the bypass lane. So this is a designated 24-foot wide one-way essentially for that movement.
All right.
So then how many feet would you have from the curb of this before you get to the Aldi's? Because would there still be, you said there's 25 feet, so you can only have about 13 feet.
Yeah, so, right, so the Aldi's building is right here. We have that designated here, and there is about, I believe, in this location alone, there's close to 40-something feet, and then there's parking here. So you have, I think, more than 35-foot wide drive aisle between the parking that's currently there and this curb that we're maintaining, because there's already a curb there.
Yeah, so it would still be able to stay two-way.
It
In
would,
this area, yes.
or, I mean, Mark.
In that area, yeah. Okay.
Correct.
Is there going to be any curbing or fencing between your south boundary of your park of your property and the Aldi property?
There is curbing along here. There's an existing curb currently, and we're tying in. There's spaces here right now that were utilized by the Ponderosa site. That's going to be curbed, and then we're continuing the curbing up through here. So this southern half will be delineated by curb and separated, and there's no access to get into here through the bottom half. On the, we'll call this I believe this is the west side. There'll be parking here and then an entrance to enter this parking area on both sides to the north here.
What are those boxes to the southwest corner of the medical building? on the south side of the building.
Right here.
Yeah,
Those were existing spaces this is all going to be landscape now.
green space.
Green space, correct. Yep. This used to be all paved and now we're making it all landscape area.
Yeah,
And I can show you
I
that
was gonna
with,
say-
I believe we have,
I was gonna say, I didn't know
here's a
where,
landscape.
okay. All right, so there's. Carrie, do we know where we are in terms of 10% on this?
Yeah, they're at 15.5%.
Okay, that's good. Casey, what about exterior lighting, pole lighting and lighting affixed to the buildings?
Yeah, definitely. So here, this is our light photometrics plan that we've developed. The majority of the site will be wall pack lighting on each building. We do have 2 pole mount lightings to satisfy the parking.
Can you show us where
Lights
the
here?
poles are? Where?
Yep, right here is one of them,
I'm not seeing.
along next to the proposed signage.
Where's your cursor?
See the little hand.
Let me see if
I
I
see
can,
it. I see it now.
yeah, right here.
Yeah.
And then there's another one right here, right next to the drive up window lanes. And these are all dark sky compliant. Even the wall packs, they'll all be dark sky compliant. And as you can see, the spillage is very minimal over on the southern side and also along each of our property lines. So the light will be pretty much maintained within our property limits. There are 2 existing pole lights that we're going to maintain as part of this project already over here on the eastern side. Right next to the dumpster, the existing dumpster pad that's there now that we will be modifying and creating to a new concrete. It's everything in this on this piece has been demoed recently, I believe, in the last 2 years. So we're pretty much repaving this entire thing up to the property line and putting out new dumpster and dumpster enclosures. We are maintaining the existing parking on this side that is, we're modifying it slightly here with curb, but yeah, it's essentially all new paved up to our property line where we will be tying into the existing Aldi's lot.
Are you gonna change out the existing lighting on the 2 existing poles to be dark sky compliant?
If they're not already, yes, we can definitely propose that and we can make that. I can verify with my, because she obviously, my lighting architect obviously had to use some sort of, oh, maybe she didn't because there's 0 here. So she might have not even taken these into consideration with the photometrics, but we can definitely change those out to dark sky compliant if they're not already.
Okay, good. Carrie, could you make a note of that?
I just did.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Also, could you describe where the stormwater catch basins are and your plan for
Sure.
moving stormwater off the site?
Yeah, definitely. So that's this plan right here. So currently, there's a lot of the property that, like this is the High Ridge where the old building was. So a lot of it flows off right now onto the Aldi's piece and onto the neighboring property down like this, there's a, I don't know if you'd call it a drive, but it's some sort of path that goes onto the neighboring property to the east. So we wanted to minimize that, even though overall we are providing more landscape area, so it'll be less peak discharge rate overall. We also wanted to minimize the potential discharge rate into the neighboring property, which is currently what it's doing now. So we are collecting more of that piece and then diverting it to the existing drainage system in that's in the shopping center now, which a lot of our site, this is an existing catch basin. So a lot of our site already did this. We're just collecting a little more over here just to avoid this impact to the neighboring property over here. So we will be tying into an existing conveyance system for the majority of the site. Both roofs are also tie into that. And yeah, we've sized the pipes, and we know the existing size of this pipe, and we ran the numbers, and it works without overtopping over the storm drains. So
That sounds good. I'm assuming we'll get sign off on that from DPW. Let's see, what else?
and we did provide, as part of your package, a project narrative and stormwater report. So that goes into a lot more detail in that as well, for that system.
Okay. On the medical building, where's the front entrance of that building going to be?
This dot area right here, it might be hard to see. There's a dot hatch. That's all the current existing pavement. And then this is where the old building was, which is all gravel right now and broken up. I believe portion of the foundation might still be there. That's all getting removed. And then we're putting all new pavement in this area. We're protecting the existing catch basins with some silt sacks. We have a construction entrance up in this area. We do have an agreement to keep this open for delivery trucks at all times. So this portion of the site will probably be done last, because we'll hopefully get that all done within a day's work and coordinate with the neighboring property. And then as the construction goes more, we'll maintain the silt sacks in the old one and put in all in the new basins, and we'll maintain we have a straw wattle around the edge, so no sediment goes into neighboring properties. And then we will definitely protect the area with construction fencing.
Seems well thought out. As I said, I guess we'll get DPW sign off on that. So I would encourage you to speak to DPW just to apprise them of the technical specs of your stormwater system.
Tom, it's been referred, and in that link that Kathy had sent, members received it as well. It's the entire project narrative and stormwater report along with the trip generation assessment.
Right.
So that's been, both items have been referred to the departments as well.
Okay, good.
So it looks like the front of the building is on the west side. The medical building is going to be, the front of the medical building is going to be on the west side, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. The main entrance is on the west side facing towards the intersection of Independence.
Okay.
And then the main entrance to the proposed fast casual will be facing directly to West State Street.
Okay.
Now, when the medical clinic is, for something this size, we're thinking, kind of like an urgent care type facility. The tenant is still up in the air, and also is above my pay grade to know that at this point. But I was told that it would be like an urgent care wellness type center. Just so if you're curious on that.
You have the ADA parking on the west side of the building as well, and
correct. Yeah, the main entrance is right here for that. So
I mean, you're at your boundary, at the property boundary line, and to the west of your property boundary line is all these parking lots. So
right.
I would want to make certain that we have a drive aisle that's adequate to support ingress and egress into those parking spots on the west side of your medical arts building.
Yeah, we're maintaining this current drive aisle here. And I believe it's a pretty wide drive aisle. It's 35 feet, but we're actually in front of our medical. We actually have to be 5 feet off our property line to satisfy the parking code. So it's going to be even wider in that area. but yes, there is a sufficient drive aisle here that we're kind of integrating with that parking plaza.
Okay. I would encourage you to make certain that drive aisle maintenance is part of your updated agreement with all these.
Okay.
Who,
No,
who, I'm sorry, who owns the plaza? I mean, like who? Is it like, I mean, this, and I'm just, it's like a generic question. There's like, the Staples owns part of their parking lot, and then there's all these owns a piece of parking lot, or is it a general parking lot?
Mark. All
Go ahead.
these, this is JR.
Okay, JR.
I plow down there, so I know where the lines are.
Oh, okay.
All these owns the parking lot that's an L shape where he's moving. It goes up to West State. And then Staples is owned by a property development that owns the middle section to that center road. And then they also own the Advanced Auto Parts.
Oh, okay.
Burger King is owned by a separate company. And then whoever bought the Kmart Plaza in the back actually owns the main entrance in, and then part of the main entrance out, up to the behind, follow that up, and it stops at the back corner of Aldi's, and then the former Ponderosa then picks up. So there's shared use agreements all down through there.
It's down to right there. Okay, okay, yeah. Well, thanks. That just helps me, I guess clarify what all those pieces of land are. So, okay. Thank you.
Okay. I guess I don't have any other questions at this point on the project. Maybe when we get the full-size plan sets, some things will occur to me, but I don't have anything else right now. Anything else from the board?
No, I just wanted to say thank you for the very thorough preparation and all the documents you did provide us.
Oh, no problem.
Okay. It looks like this is something that we can do with an uncoordinated seeker review. So I would entertain a motion to declare the planning board lead agent for an uncoordinated seeker review.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? That's carried. Carrie, I'm going to ask you to walk us through the seeker forms, and I'm going to step away for a minute while you do that, okay?
Sure.
Okay.
Jumping into part one with the project and sponsor information, it's with a proposed commercial development at the 2727 West State Street with a brief description of the project. It has the name of the applicant or sponsor, which is the State Street Olean LLC, and their Fairport address. With question one, does the proposed action only involve the legislative adoption of a plan, local law, ordinance, administrative rule, or regulation? That's marked no. Does the proposed action require permit, approval, or funding from any other governmental agency? That's marked yes. That would be a zoning permit with the City of Olean zoning enforcement officer and site plan review from the City of Olean Planning Board. The total acreage of the site, the proposed action is 0.94 acres. The total acreage to be physically disturbed is 1.02. The total acreage of the project site and any contiguous properties owned is 0 acres.
Should it be 0.94?
Yeah, I do agree with that because even if you have an easement, you're not physically disturbing it. So I would be in agreement that it should be 0.94.
Yeah, we can definitely change that. The only thing is we are modifying a portion of the Aldi's property that is within that easement and within our agreement to do so. So I didn't know how, I did add that as a disturbed area, even though our property is it's smaller. But if it's
okay, because if you hit over an acre, then you would have to have a SWIP. And that's not technically your property. So I think it'd be best if you kept it at the 0.94.
Okay, we can
If-
definitely change that.
You're just making those improvements. I mean, you're gonna be paving. So I wouldn't say that, I get there's some disturbance throughout the site, but you're really not disturbing 100% of the site.
Right, right. Yeah, especially all this area here that's not.
Correct,
Disturbing.
that isn't being disturbed, so that's really, if you take that square footage based on 12 feet width from what's onto an adjoining property, you're not gonna get up over an acre.
Understood.
Okay, so, board, are you okay with revising it to the 0.94 acres?
Yes,
Okay. Number 4, check all land uses that occur on, adjoining, or near the proposed action. A commercial is checked.
I would add urban and residential.
Yeah, I agree.
That's been revised. Number 5 is the proposed action A, a permitted use under the zoning regulations. That's marked yes. B, consistent with the adopted comprehensive plan. That's marked yes. 6 is the proposed action consistent with the predominant character of the existing built or natural landscape. That's marked yes. Is the site of the proposed action located in or does it adjoin a state listed critical environmental area? That's marked no. 8A, will the proposed action result in a substantial increase in traffic above present levels? That's marked no. Are public transportation services available at or near the site of the proposed action? That's marked no.
It should say yes, shouldn't it?
Yes, agreed. The Olean area transit system, that is a scheduled stop location in, around and adjoining, all the properties in question.
Sorry, what about A? Increase above present levels? Should that be marked yes as
I
well?
don't know, because it was existing use. And if you look at what was there with this trip generator, I was okay, but if not, we can do it.
I'm okay with no, because it was a restaurant upon Ponderosa. I don't see any significant increase from what it previously was.
That's how I was interpreting it too. If the board's in agreement.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, and I don't think the number of trips to well now will be that great either, over and above that. And the
Well-
Chipotle looks like it's a smaller footprint a little bit than Ponderosa perhaps.
I agree.
So 8C, are any pedestrian accommodations or bicycle routes available on or near the site of the proposed action? That's marked yes. Number 9, does the proposed action meet or exceed the state energy code requirements? That's marked no. Number 10, will the proposed action connect to an existing public-private water supply? That's marked yes. Well,
But I'm sorry, on number 9, shouldn't that be yes? It meets or exceeds the state energy code?
You're correct, yes. Is the board in agreement? We'll change 9 from no to yes.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay, 10, will the proposed action connect to an existing public-private water supply? That's marked yes. 11, will the proposed action connect to existing wastewater utilities? That's marked yes. Does the site contain a structure that is listed on either the state or national register of historic places? That's marked no. Is the proposed action located in an archaeological sensitive area? That's marked yes. Does any portion of the site of the proposed action or lands adjoining the proposed action contain wetlands or other water bodies regulated by a federal, state, or local agency? That's marked no. Will the proposed action physically alter or encroach into any existing wetland or water body? That's marked no. And then identify the typical habitat source or habitat types that occur on or are likely to be found on the project site. Check all that apply. Urban is found.
Yeah, it's suburban.
Suburban, yeah.
Okay, that change has been noted. Does the site of the proposed action contain any species of animal or associated habitats listed by the state or federal government as threatened or endangered? That's marked no.
Did you go to the DEC site and look on the, what's it called, Carrie?
It's the EAF mapper.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, so we plug this, the great thing about that is you plug your address in, and it'll check off certain ones for you already when you upload the form. So that one was definitely checked off that way.
Because usually we get, a couple of species, and we like to see the fact that you've checked that, as part of the report. We'd like to actually have a copy of that in our file, and we like to see what those species are, and they're usually just species that you'll find in streams. And then what we do is we note during the seeker process that those species wouldn't be present on the site because there's no streams. But nonetheless, we've gone through the process. So if you could forward that EIS mapper report to us, we'd appreciate that.
Definitely.
Number 16 is the proposed site located in the 100-year floodplain that's marked no. Will the proposed action create stormwater discharge either from point or non-point sources? That's marked yes. If yes, will stormwater discharges flow to adjacent properties? That's marked yes. And then B, will the stormwater discharges be directed to established conveyance systems, runoff and storm drains? That's marked yes. And then the explanation being, the majority of the runoff associated with the proposed redevelopment will flow over land into a stormwater conveyance system that ties into the existing conveyance system associated with a neighboring commercial property, existing Aldi site. For information regarding the stormwater management plan of the proposed redevelopment, please refer to the project narrative. Number 18, does the proposed action include construction or other activities that result in the impoundment of water or other liquids? That's marked no. 19, has the site of the proposed action or an adjoining property been the location of an active or closed solid waste management facility? That's marked no. And 20, has the site of the proposed action or an adjoining property been the subject of remediation, ongoing or completed for hazardous waste? And that's marked no. Part 2, I prepared upon members' behalf. Questions 1 through 11, I found to be no or small impact that may occur.
Any questions on those, or any modifications you'd like to make of Carrie's responses?
I thought it looked good.
Yeah, I agree.
No, I'm good.
Good.
All right, well, in that case, given the answers to parts 1 and 2 as revised, I would entertain a motion to make a finding that the project will not pose any significant adverse environmental impact, and accordingly to authorize the issuance of a negative declaration on the project.
Second.
Made and seconded, but I didn't hear who.
JR and Reed.
Okay. Aaron Reed. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That's carried. Carrie, will you sign my name and initial? On
I
part
will
2?
do that. Thank you.
Okay. Now I will entertain a motion to certify that we have a complete application.
Motion.
Second,
Made and seconded, Marion Craig. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? That's carried. Okay, now let's return to the question that Mark had raised earlier. Do we feel that, or Craig had raised earlier, do we feel that we would like comments back from County Planning Board?
I don't feel it's necessary.
I agree with Mary.
Anyone else? Anyone feel differently? Okay, I'd like to memorialize that with a motion. Make a finding that we don't feel it's necessary to refer this project to county planning. The motion for that.
No motion.
Mark, second by
Second.
Mary. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Okay, so if we're not gonna refer, and we have a completed application, we can have we can set the date for a public hearing. And Casey, we usually go 2 weeks out on our traditional meeting days, so that would be the 28th of March.
Yes.
That date work for you?
It does, thank you.
At 6:30 PM. I would entertain a motion to set the public hearing for the 28th at 6:30.
So move.
Second,
Made and seconded, Craig and Mary. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Okay, Carrie, why don't you run through what his notification requirements are?
Absolutely. So Casey, by Wednesday morning, Kathy Monroe from Community Development will be emailing you a public hearing packet. It'll contain a memorandum outlining the process of what needs to occur. The package will also have a notice that you'll be sending to property owners that are within a 250-foot radius from any border of your property. Those will need to be postmarked via regular United States Postal Service mail by this coming Friday. And then the final item that you'll find in the packet is a certification form that just needs to be signed and returned to our office prior to the public hearing in 2 weeks, stating that you did send those notifications out.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, and you'll need to be sending us those plan sets, larger plan sets.
Yes, I'll do that right away.
Okay.
The mayor just popped in to say hello.
Hi, Mayor.
Hi, Mayor.
Oh, hello, everybody. Thank you for all you do.
Looks like
Thanks,
we're
Mayor.
well on our way to processing this new project, Mayor, so you'll be happy about that.
Good. That's what we want, a lot of new projects.
That's right. We agree.
Bye, Mayor. Have a good night.
We just want to make certain that they're
Oh,
built,
you're good. Thank you.
we're built according to the zoning ordinance. So Casey, I guess that's it for you tonight, okay?
Sounds good. Thank you very much. Everybody have a great night.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see, we're down to miscellaneous and communications. I would note that in the last meeting, we had a couple of items that were in the minutes. Short-term rentals, cannabis, and zoning and land use regulations.
Yep, I do have updates on both. From speaking with the mayor and code enforcement, the short-term rental information laws were actually already previously approved by the Common Council, and they are in effect. And it's actually the zoning board that handles those. So I do recall prior to Ed Jennings' retirement, he wrote up the entire application process. And so that's within code enforcement and the zoning board. I just don't know where the board is in that process with accepting applications or what actions they're taking, but there's no action necessary on the planning board's part.
I'm gonna take a stab that they're not aware.
Is that application online?
I don't know, because it's not a planning board action. I haven't been involved in the process.
Well, Mary, you brought this up. What were your questions that you had last time out?
Well, I just wondered if we had any regulations and what are they? like in an R1, residential area, can you have an Airbnb? Since one had been functioning here for about a year, unbeknownst to anyone. Well, unbeknownst to me, I guess I should say. So I just wonder what the application process is and how it gets approved and how are the neighbors notified?
Okay, I will forward on what was adopted. And I will ask code enforcement to provide us with a copy of the application if I don't find it online.
Okay, thank you.
And
You're welcome.
if that stuff is not online, maybe you could suggest to the powers that be that it be put online like the other ordinances and so forth are.
Okay, will do. Well, while we're sitting here, JR just found it in section,
1290.
so I'll forward that on tomorrow.
Okay. Now, let's move on to cannabis.
Yep, I spoke with the mayor regarding this and, expressed some concerns that whether it be cannabis facilities or lounges, manufacturing, whatever the case may be, that we would really want the common council to amend our zoning laws to the point where we know where these locations will be or will not be accepted. So that is an item that he and the city attorney will be working on.
I mean, we already have several retail dispensaries in the city, right?
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh, they're not allowed yet, Tom.
I thought that there were some.
On the reservation.
No, I thought that there were some in the city of Olean. I guess I was misinformed.
Oh, maybe there are, they're just not legal.
That's right. That's the point.
Well, I meant not legal, state legal even, let alone local.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of any of that.
And no one's allowed in the state yet unless they're on the res.
I thought that there was something in the city. Okay, I guess I was misinformed. But it would be good, as you suggest, Carrie, that the zoning ordinance be amended to reflect where the various types of cannabis operations would be allowed and what particular zoning categories. That would be useful for us.
Okay.
We also discussed streetlights and training webinars. Any updates on either of those?
No, I don't believe so on my behalf.
Okay.
I can't think of anything. Kathy, did you find anything?
I looked yesterday, but there wasn't, they're all recorded.
Yeah, you might want to, Carrie, you might want to get with Sarah Fiersdorf over at Southern Tier West and see if they have any.
Yeah, I just looked with Sarah and the ones that they have aren't for planning and zoning right now.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess not then. So I
Well,
guess
let me know.
that's all that I have. Is there any other miscellaneous or communications and or other business?
I don't have any at this time unless members do.
I just wanted to hit back on the zoning law issue as a follow-up to the Airbnb or short-term rental. And, as going forward with the cannabis laws, it's my recollection that we used to, it seems like it's probably decades ago now, it seems, but I don't believe there's any change to the law. The zoning board used to receive referrals from the common council whenever a zoning law was changed for review and comment. And I don't think I've seen that in 25 years.
That's not good because they should have been referred.
Right. So, I mean, if there was the change to that
They should
short-term
review
rental,
it.
we should have
Yeah.
seen it. That's why we would have been aware of it.
Yeah. True, good point.
You said zoning board, you meant planning board?
It probably should go to either both.
It should go to both. Yeah, actually.
Yeah, I meant planning board at the time, but yeah, it probably should go to both.
It's just
Okay.
like when we adopt a plan, it should go to both for referral. At the city level, It's
Right.
like, I do that with, I did it with our Allegheny River Public Access and Rec Plan. I always like to forward it on to planning and zoning, if you may recall that one from a few years ago.
Mhm.
And I think that's something else that should be done is obviously the zoning laws when they're changed should be, so. I will make mention of that.
Yeah, and it may not be that long, Carrie. It just feels like it. When I said
Yeah.
25 years.
Well, I feel like I've been here 50, so I get it.
Okay.
Speaking of plans, where are we in terms of updating the city's comprehensive plan?
Oh, yeah, I have really good news on that. So in July of 2021, I wrote CFA applications to the Department of State and to Empire State Development. And we were actually awarded both. So I have $90,000 in funding currently. I've asked the Cattaraugus County for the other $5,000 that's necessary for the project. I do believe that may have been passed. I'm just waiting to hear by way of resolution. And then I've also requested the final 5,000 from the Siemens money that is currently being administered by JCC's foundation. So I'm just waiting on the contracts to come back from the Department of State and also Empire State Development. I have the request for proposals for professional services complete and ready to go. I forwarded that document onto the Common Council for their review and comment, since it really is a council action on their behalf to be doing the plan and the updates to the plan. But if you'd like, I could send that RFP to planning board members if you have any review and comment prior to me releasing it.
It'd be interesting to read.
Okay.
Me too.
Okay, I'll send it out to members tomorrow. So as soon as those contracts come in, we can really go, because our comprehensive plan went from 2005 to 2025. However, it was never updated during those years, and I do believe it's outdated. And I mean, we did things in it that weren't even in there. So I think it's time to revamp and, you know, be that can-do city and that role model that we want to be, but let's put it in writing.
The last time out, there was a I don't know what it was, what we called it, but it was a steering committee for the revision of the comprehensive plan. And I'm curious, will there be a similar steering committee? And will there be a role for the planning board in the revision process?
Yes, and yes. So I also met with Mayor Alio during this process, and how I wrote the grant applications is that was one of the things that I said we would do, is to have that task force committee. And there will be a member, whomever you shall choose, from the planning board and one from the zoning board that will again participate in that planning process, that can update other members and, you know, add, you know, the valuable feedback and input that we need.
Well, I would suggest to my fellow planning board members that when we get into this planning board, or when we get into this comprehensive plan revision planning process, we put a regular agenda item on our agenda, so that whoever is selected to participate can report back and solicit input from the planning board on a regular basis.
Okay, I
Yeah.
like that.
Okay. Any other items for consideration?
Not that I'm aware of.
And I think it's dinner time. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Yeah, Reed and Craig, Tom.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, we'll see you again on the 28th.
Okay, thank you all.
Good night, everyone.
Happy
All right,
St. Patty's,
bye.
everybody.
Yep.
See you.
Aaron go Brock.